hard is it on you mentally dealing with the child trafficking?
Look, I struggled for years. Can't even talk to a therapist about it, right? Because it would mess them up if I explain what I saw.
Damn.
Were you able to sort of identify child predators just off looks?
Predators put themselves around prey. Mm-hmm. I want to hunt these individuals. Mm-hmm. I want to create as much fear in the world in their market. We are very proficient. We're 100% successful in every operation we go on.
Whoa. Welcome back to the Digital Social Hour. I'm your host, Sean Kelly, here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Glenn Devitt.
What's going on, man?
Man, how you doing?
Building.
Doing well. I'm in Las Vegas. Can't complain.
Yeah.
You out here for the weekend?
One day.
Oh, just one day?
I got in last night. I got to leave. I got to fly out to San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Oh, San Diego. Nice. The weather's out there was nice.
Man, so people watching, because you've been low-key, can you tell people your journey?
Oh, yeah. It's a story for sure. So Glenn Devitt, the CEO and founder of the Sentinel Foundation, which is a child rescue organization. We basically go undercover against traffickers and rescue kids from child sex slavery around the world. Mm-hmm. We're kind of a find, fix asset for law enforcement. So we all have a former high-level special operations capability. So we take that capability down to a child crime investigation fight. So we've been extremely successful. I do a bunch of other things, but that and an entrepreneur, the founder of Alcohol Armor. So we are a different, not a nonprofit really, is where we're doing for-profit things to then help fund our nonprofit passions. So,
what is Alcohol Armor?
Yeah. It's I created this working undercover, like getting banged up with cartels and trying to fly a drone or tag a vehicle or track them in these third world countries after you were drinking the whole night with them. We had to come up with like an anti-hangover formula. And so I have a doctor in Google. I had a background in hacking and intelligence. And I just started putting different supplements together to take while you drink. And so it's basically a performance enhancer and removes the toxins.
Wow.
So it prevents the toxins before it happens. So it's a whole different market.
So do you still get the buzz?
Oh yeah, you still get the buzz. Yeah, the FDA will crush me if I say. No, you still maintain the level.
Yeah.
That's just the science behind it, right? Like alcohol goes through your small intestines. And, being in the military, I had my stomach pumped 3 times. So we drink heavily. But I knew charcoal was a key ingredient. So from that experience, we put charcoal in it, we souped up the vitamins, and we souped up your liver and your brain. So we put a bunch of different supplements together. I hired a chemist. It's pretty much redneck science.
Yeah.
And the chemist was like, hey, how'd you come up with this? And we told him, I was like, I was drunk one night, Googled kudu's root, and that's what the Japanese gave back in the 1700s. So I was like, put that in there. It kind of worked out well. Like surprisingly, the first night I drank it, I had no hunger. I probably drank like $700 worth of vodka sodas just to really test the limit. And I woke up the next day feeling great. So I was like, all right, I have to fully invest in this. And so by doing that, we then fund our nonprofit. I'm not out there selling sandals to raise money for awareness. We had no social media footprint until recently, where I came public with the story, but we've been doing it since 2014. So
wow.
So how hard is it on you mentally dealing with the child trafficking? Are you actually on those missions? You actually go in?
I've been on 20 plus operations in 12 countries.
Wow.
A lot of different countries. It takes a toll on you, right? That is the hardest part. When I first got out,
do you want to the guys up bad?
I have a bunch of savages on my team. I'm the captain of a pirate ship. These guys are like the Tom Brady of killing people. They did this for a living.
Tom Brady.
These guys have smoke checked a lot of people around the world, and then I stand on the shoulders of legends. So our teams and what they've accomplished. It's American history,
right.
By bringing where we come from, the Special Mission Unit in Fort Bragg.
consolidate that team together, and so we are very proficient. We're 100% successful in every operation we go on.
An ongoing problem in our world now, you know. So and you're just dealing with it international. So you're dealing with, sometimes y'all get in shootouts and everything.
We're not getting shootouts. You know, we have to give up that side of it. But I mean, we partner with the law enforcement in these third world countries. Like I've been to Haiti a bunch, you know, before the president was assassinated. You know, we spent a lot of time in South America, Asia, and so we'll work directly side by side with them. And you teach them, you train them, you assist them through operations, and then we're working there, right? If you're working in Asia, you can't, like, the local Thai police cannot play undercover. They can't go and infiltrate that trafficking network. So they need gringos, white guys, to come in, because that's the majority are
like older, middle-aged white guys are a lot of the people that are traveling to have sex. And so, I mean, I got guys at 37 years CIA, 77 years old, and he's still now doing this job, right? Like,
wow. Yeah.
So we destroy networks when we go in.
That's crazy. And what started your passion for this?
Yeah. So back in 2014, I got medically retired for my neck and back, and I kind of the Iraq war kind of pissed me off. Because I felt like it was a bullshit war. I lost a lot of friends. We shouldn't have been there. And so I had this resentment for this. So I was like, all right, I want something that's very black and white and not gray. War is very gray. Anywhere you go that anyone's been to war doesn't want to send anybody to war. And I was like, children, helping the helpless. That was the thing. And I just Googled it. Right. And there wasn't a lot of organizations back in, when was this, 2014? But I found a special program called the Hero Corps, which is Human Exploitation Rescue Operative. And they teach you have to go unpaid for a year. So I had to leave the defense world that was getting a high paying salary to go unpaid for a year. And they teach you about computer forensics, digital forensics, and they teach you about the mindset behind pedophiles and why they exploit children and trafficking. So they brought world renowned experts in, and it was like, once you see the worst of the worst, you had to watch the worst of the worst. And I was like, I want to hunt these individuals. I want to create as much fear in the world in their market. Right, because that's what it is. It's the market, and so if they're not being hunted, if they're not being caught, then they just go freely. And so that's our mission, is to create as much fear by working with law enforcement. They have the hardest job, right? They are a fine fix. We're not the messiahs. We're not the Jason Bournes. We're there taking our experience, our knowledge, and bringing it to the law enforcement.
You became really good at studying human psychology. So are you able to sort of identify child predators just off looks?
We do play spot the pedophile, right? Like it's just like you go to a playground and you're like, he's probably a pedophile. He's probably like,
there's a bunch of kids around and he's playing with them.
Yeah, I'm like, that guy pedophile. We do that. Like I'm right majority of the time.
Yeah. Wow.
But I have a background in human intelligence, so the government trained me on exploitation, on social engineering, on really manipulation, and really building our personas, because I will have to be who you want me to be, right? To be that person to make you comfortable. And so you get pretty good. You can't say 100%, but you know that predators put themselves around prey, right? That's why you'll see doctors, you'll see teachers, you'll see nonprofits that have these individuals that are working with children. They embed themselves there, right? And so we have to use as best we can with technology. We have some big things on the horizon. Over the next few weeks, we're going to make some announcements where we're taking a huge step in the right direction of consolidating a lot of experts in the field under one flag. That's going to make an impact.
Nice.
And you're also making an impact too in the suicide space too, with suicide prevention. You teamed up with Amazon. How has that been?
Yeah, I mean, that came about, I had with the background in hacking, and like my ability to hack was exploiting like Facebook and Instagram and getting information that we shouldn't have access to, but they left the door open and it was legally to get it. And we would use that in counterterrorism, child crimes cases. So I get pretty good at using data to exploit a problem. And I got approached around 2019 on using technology to prevent suicide. Like, how can we make an indent with an organization called Stop Soldier Suicide? So I sat on there for a week and I realized that, when I got back in 2019, my best friend, Andrew Tallman, killed himself. Like, to survive the deployment and kill himself, writing a eulogy at 21, it rocked me. Like, absolutely killed me. So it's always been close to my heart. And I realized that I've helped buddies along the way, like financially or just be there for them. And they were all posting the same thing online. They were all posting like, call a buddy, help a buddy. And I knew they were the ones that were suicidal. So I knew that your outward persona was separate and different than your inward persona. And so by having a digital forensic background, when I was investigating child crimes, it was almost like you were in the mindset of this individual. Like, because your phone's your fifth limb, as Elon Musk said, right? Everything you do, think, process goes through that. And so I was sitting there, I realized, I was like, all these phones are being left behind. When you commit suicide, all your devices go to your next of kin. So we're sitting on a wealth of knowledge. Well, people say, well, eventually the phone is locked out, you can't get in. Well, we partnered with the best in breed and Cellbrite. They donated right away when I told them the initial concept. So I built like a bootstrapped in my house during COVID because I wasn't working undercover. I built a forensic lab, all the old equipment I had. I called Cellbrite. They donated for free. Stop Soldier Suicide brought me on as their CTO to build out this platform. Amazon caught wind of it. And we brought in the best machine learning team from the ProServe to come and analyze it. And this is our first time talking about the project publicly, and it is fascinating. The results we're seeing are incredible because we can actually back it up with data. With our control set.
So you guys can predict suicide through phone, through text message?
You can't yet. You can't predict it yet, but you can't get to that point so you know what's going on, right? Yeah. So we do a call at the Black Box Project. They had no idea how planes were crashing or why they were crashing, and so they put a black box into the planes, right? And so we're analyzing the black boxes right now of all these plane crashes to try to see why. You know, out the gate, I knew that 3 out of 5 first cell phones, like I had to go in these families and meet these people. And I mean, I knew of suicide. Like, I think everyone in the military goes down this path. 22 veterans kill themselves a day.
Wow.
So you have
a day?
That's
day,
crazy.
Man. A day veterans, 22. That's minimum. They think it's even higher.
Jeez.
So it's insane, the numbers. And you go through it, right? I have had 5 buddies kill themselves.
Wow.
Right? And you offer this help. It's just, there's all different reasons. And so I was going into it and I realized, man, with the suicide, like all you're doing is pushing the pain. Right, you're pushing it. It's like you walk in now, the mom's suicidal, the father's suicidal. You know, and it's like I think we have to really, bring people to awareness. When you do this, it is a drastic effect across the board. Right, it's hitting everybody. And the families were just bought in. They were like, I want to help. Yeah. They wanted to give their the cell phones they had, so they gave them. And if you understand security, your cell phone right now we can't get into because of certain security reasons, but it's not being updated and it's not being patched. That's why we update our cell phones, right? It's because they're stopping a door that's been open. And so the longer the phone sits around, the more doors you have open that you could eventually get in and still have all this data to analyze. And so it's been a fascinating project. We're seeing, like a big thing is like, oh, it's spur of the moment. Well, one of the cases they said it was spur of the moment. He wrote a suicide note 3 months prior that he deleted from his notepad that I then recovered and analyzed and read it. So he had all these tendencies back then. So then what were they searching? What were they Googling, right? You're seeing all these different statistics. And I thought it was going to be like a year-long project. I was like, look, I'll come over for a year. We'll do this. Now we're in like year 3 for it. And it's a great organization.
That means you're going to innovate the way all cell phone companies, not just Apple, but all cell phone companies collect their data when it comes to each individual.
So you could create an SDK. There's talks of that to putting on certain apps where you're seeing this like a suicide prevention. You start seeing these flags and indicators. We're looking at having our own app for resource for suicide help because Stop Soldier Suicide's a huge nonprofit now. They've just hit the limelight. During COVID, we grew. I mean, there's only 13 of us now. The organization is growing during COVID. The suicide went up, right? All these individuals were at home, they're depressed, being locked up, all the effects, and we haven't improved anything. And so we think and we hope that we have the best chance out there because we're the only ones with this data.
Right. Yeah.
And so I've loved it. We're going to continue to do it. We need more devices, though. I mean, that's like if I had one ask from this podcast, it's like if you know somebody that was a veteran that is passed away from suicide, to reach out to us, stopsoldiersuicide.org. You can donate the devices to us. We give the devices back, so we collect the data, and then we give the device back to you, so you still have that device for yourself.
So how do you yourself deal with getting all this information and energy, and like what's your mental health like?
I mean, look, I struggled for years. Like, I couldn't bathe my daughters when I got back from some of these operations. You go from like living undercover where you're a savage, right? You're not doing anything illegal, but you're still living around these people. You have such this negative energy you're living, and you have to come back and then be a normal, father and be normal. And then you go another 2 weeks, you're going, and it could be at a moment's notice. You jump back and forth. So I struggled, man. Like, I tattooed a little baby's hand on my wrist because I almost closed down my nonprofit because I was struggling. So I was like, well, if I put a tattoo on, I have to. Like, so I was doing this battling of going through it, and the stuff you see is so bad. It's all trauma's equal. It's just when you watch this information, like I can't even talk to a therapist about it, right? Because it would mess them up if I explain what I saw.
Damn,
it's like
it would mess a therapist.
I like all the forensic investigators that are out there. I mean, they are doing God's work, man. To being on the front lines, living that every day. They're a special breed. They really care.
I can't even talk to a therapist because I'll become the therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I started like manipulating my therapist, and I was like, maybe I should not do that. I got to turn that off at some point. But so then I found plant medicine. Like for me, being in the military, I had my top secret security clearance. I had the highest level. You can't do drugs. It's one of the things. But you can drink a shit ton. So every one of us, we either go to the Bible or the bottle.
It's funny. It's like because they'll allow you to drink, which alcohol is a drug.
Yeah.
But they don't allow you to do anything else. And alcohol is more, it'll inebriate you to the point you can't even defend yourself or defend the country.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And the infantry, you know how many times we got in fist brawls because everyone was drunk? Like, if we were high, we'd all just be chilling out. You know what I mean? Like,
that's weird.
Yeah,
have they changed that since? Or
no, you still can't do
not
anything.
Even weed?
Not CBD, not nothing.
Yeah, they call it like CBD. It's crazy.
Yeah,
like, hopefully, eventually they catch up because you're seeing in the veteran space, the psychedelics are hands down the best one. Like ayahuasca cured my PTSD on the second time.
Really?
Second term.
What's your take on psychedelics? Because I just experienced shrooms for the first time like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And microdosing is it helps me with a lot of different things as far as thinking, anxiety, just dealing with like the social aspect of constantly just working and spreading yourself out within, even in being in large crowds.
Look, I am a big advocate for it. Yeah. You know, I started my psychedelic journey with ayahuasca, and I've done around 14 ceremonies, and I do private ceremonies where I do it with the Shipibo tribe. So I would just say to people is go to the source, right? Like don't go to California and do it with some hippie, then try out ayahuasca. Like go to the source because they are the energy. You know, when the Shipibo are considered the guardians of ayahuasca, right? They're the only ones that cast the recipe for it, and then spread to Brazil and Colombia.
I haven't done ayahuasca though.
What's that?
Ayahuasca is different, right?
Ayahuasca is DMT, right? With psychedelics, it's psilocybin, which psilocybin, mushrooms I love, but I didn't start to appreciate mushrooms until I did ayahuasca because it gave me the ability to handle, because it goes pretty deep, right? It's like 6 to 8 hours long. So my mushroom ceremony has gotten 10 times better, and I could really tap into my internal workings because I've had that psychedelics experience. And it benefited. And like eventually I want to have my own center for women that have been abused and children in their lives, for veterans, where they can get access to it because it worked for me. And once it works for you, I mean, I woke up after my second ceremony and it just felt like somebody had just scrub my system.
Wow.
Now it's not like a magic pill. Like you still have a lot of work.
Right?
This is just my ayahuasca ceremony.
You said it was 6 hours, 8 hours?
You do 6 to 8 hours. I went to where celebrities went at first down in Costa Rica, and then I went to like where like regular people would go, and then I realized that the energy was the healers, and so I started putting my own private retreats. And when I went to other retreats, they had two. They had a man and a woman as the maestros and maestra. For me, I was like, I heard about like maybe having 5, like a family. So I did.
Wow.
So I got my buddy to get the people from the Shiva. I brought 5 of them to the Amazon jungle. And so we had 5 healers to only 7 of us.
Wow.
And it completely took me to another dimension. Like I did 4 ceremonies. So you do 4 ceremonies in a week. So every other day you do one. And I mean, it was life changing.
Did your soul leave your body?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was it's funny to bleep that out,
basically died.
I mean, it was that experience in that environment in the Amazon jungle was so powerful. Like, I mean, the experience that I have, and I think I've gotten better over the years, is because you have to let go. You have to realize that you have nothing to lose, and I don't care. Like, I fully commit to it when I do it. And so I think I have a better relationship with it. And no, I've done it so many times. Like my 14th ceremony, she's like, "I taught you enough." She was like, bye. She pretty much is like, "Get out of here," you know. Like, so I explored iboga. I just did iboga.
What's that? What's
that
iboga?
they call it
iboga.
Iboga it is insane, right? So ibogaine is what you hear a lot of, and ibogaine is curing meth addicts, heroin addicts, 90% success rate at curing. Right, and so iboga is the actual root from Africa. It's from Gabon. I think it's Gabon area. It's the Weedy tribe. It's called, and it is a root. Now that ceremony can last anywhere from 18 to 38 hours. Right. It is insane. But so with ibogaine, it is pharmaceutical, and it's one alkaloid that pulls out of it. And with iboga, you get the spirit, they say, with it, and it's 14 different alkaloids, right? And so it completely rocked me. So it like replays your life. Like a screen pops up, you're into it. It's not recreational like Aya. You don't get the cool. You know, like Aya can show you love at 10,000. It can show you fear at 10,000. Right, and it's like I'm stuck in a TV with ayahuasca. And so with iboga, it's more of like watching your life. And shows you, and it's just like the old grandfather that's just like smacks you upside your head, says like you need to do this, stop being an idiot. And then you get like neuroplasticity where your brain is like fully open to learn for 3 months.
Whoa.
Which is insane. So like right now I'm in that. I mean, I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm journaling, cold plunging, sauna. Like you get that ability to really rewire yourself, right?
Wow.
And so, but you can also rewire yourself as you start drinking heavily. Yeah. You can start tying that in. So if you imagine like getting this ability to be supercharged and then really take control of yourself and say, I want to fix this. For me, it was like I have an anti-alcohol arm, anti-hangover company. So I was like, I'm going to take a break from drinking, really reset, detox my life, get my brain fully functioning, right? And so then I'll go back to it.
So iboga is let me get this straight. So you take, what is it, a pill? Is it a root?
No, man, it's just like ground up root.
It's a root?
It's terrible. There's no good plant medicine.
Okay,
mushrooms taste like candy compared to this shit.
So you take it and then instantly it's just like...
No, you wait like 30 minutes and so you start going through it and then you have your healers. And so for iboga, I used this guy Michael from BeweedyLife.org. Phenomenal. This guy Jason Munger is one of his people and they were just amazing, man. They like... walked you through the journey. So you go in with intentions, and so you take the medicine, and you wait like an hour, and you go, and it's like teaches you life lessons. So there's these principles of life of like taking care of yourself, right? Like you put you first, of going in through and then resetting your brain of like, if you hold on to something, if a negative thought comes in your mind, you have 10 seconds to get rid of it, or you're going to hold it the whole day.
Wow.
And so it teaches you these different things to really align yourself to. It's cheating, man. I compare it to cheating. All my success, my patents, and other things that I've done, all have come from plant medicine.
That's insane.
It completely rewired my brain for it. Now, granted, it's work. You have to constantly go through. I didn't do a good job at reintegrating, of coming back and doing this now, and so I've gotten better over the years. And there's different plant medicine. I've done San Pedro, which is God's LSD. There's Bufo, which is the toad. So I've done an experiment with all of them and just kind of figure out, like, with friends and buddies and colleagues I know of, like, hey, you know what, you should try this one. You're going through this in life, maybe you should go to that. Yeah, and so.
How important do you feel is the plant-based implementation when it comes to mental health? Do you feel like they should start approving this so that people can actually
it's the only thing. Look, when I got out of the military, they had me on 8 Percocets a day.
Damn.
They had me on Zoloft.
Jeez,
right?
That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I kicked it cold turkey. Like I was watching Drug Inc. on Discovery or History, whatever it was, and I realized I was an addict. So for 5 days, I went through withdrawals, completely rocked me. And I was like, man, I don't ever want to go down this path again. And then they have you on Zoloft, which makes you numb because you're going through all these different things. When, truthfully, if you microdose mushrooms, if you go and go travel somewhere, like, why is this not legal in the U.S.? Why don't... Right. Now, I don't agree with just making everything legal, but I think, like, with psilocybin, if you can do a guided journey in the U.S., have it like you're going to, like ketamine right now, you're starting to get ketamine drips, they can do that. I haven't done that yet, but like have a guided journey, it would do wonders for it, right? But I don't recommend, because mushrooms can take you really deep. If you take the wrong amount of dosage, you can go pretty deep with that if you don't know what you're doing. So I think like mushrooms should be used in microdose aspect, or really just having it in controlled environments, having somebody guide you. Like I have buddies and we'll get mushrooms, we'll go to another country and I'll guide them, if I need to.
Right.
So.
Have you ever had a bad psychedelic trip or experience?
I mean, the bad ones are the good ones, right? Like that's when you have the most learning, right? When you have, I was like stuck for like 3 hours, like screaming no mas, like I can speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm getting rocked in the Amazon. They're like holding my hands, and that's why IA can show you love at 10,000 level, like your amount of love. It can also show you fear, and like it can take you to those levels. But then it's just your body working through it. You can get out of it for the most part. That one time I couldn't get out of it for some reason, but the every other times you can get up, you can go to the bathroom. But I would challenge anybody if they're struggling, like what do you have to lose?
Because they say if you're in a bad mental state, you should be careful about taking psychedelics, right?
Correct, right? Like, and if you're on certain antidepressants, that's why I highly recommend. There's so many places down, and if anyone wants to know places to go, you can hit me up on Instagram. Like, they can reach out. Like, hey, this is the place I prefer for it. I've experimented with different ones, and I know the ones that I like working with because they're like little angels. I mean, they really are. The guys that guide you through the journey and women that guide you through, they're there to protect you, right? And they are the conduit between the locals that do it and having that local or that individual that's not from the tribe is actually guiding you. So,
man, what's next for you? This is enlightening.
Yeah. I mean, so we're making a big push with the Sentinel Foundation. That's my nonprofit, FoundationSentinel.org. We're pushing there where we're consolidating a bunch of other human trafficking task force to put us under one flag to move forward to create as much fear as we can.
Wow.
Blow up alcohol armor so we can have an exit. Like, I want to be on yachts and rescue kids. I don't think you should be poor and have to do nonprofit work. I think that you can find that balance, right? When I first started, I started a for-profit company and a nonprofit at the same time, and all my mentors from the Silicon Valley were like, "You're an idiot. You can't do this." But then I realized the more that I gave, the more I got, right? And my successes came from leading with my nonprofit, right? Of going through, and then it became a test bed where I was taking what I learned in my nonprofit and did a for-profit. And so I got this balance of back and forth. And just always staying true to it, right? Like, always giving and helping others. I think there's nothing greater in this world when you go to a third world country, you go to your neighborhood, and you help somebody in need. Like, if you can do the littlest thing and really change somebody's life. So.
Man, I love that. With sex trafficking, what are the most common countries that have that issue?
So, like, huge issue with Thailand, Asia, right? You get a lot of people from Europe and the U.S. that travel to there, they exploit them. And the Thai people are some of the nicest people, right? And they're just overwhelmed, right? When you have this influx into that country, like, the U.S. is some of the biggest consumers of this problem.
Really?
Right? Oh, yeah.
And they're
Hands
taking,
down.
like, kids as young as what?
Yeah, I mean, look, you have the ones that produce stuff that are dealing very low. I don't want to, it's very low. And then you have all the way up to, like, teenagers. Like, they'll go to South America. Like, Colombia is one of my favorite countries in the world. I spent a lot of time down there. And so, it's that whole region, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador. I've worked in the majority of all these countries. So
that's insane. Did you ever go to Epstein Island?
Terrible.
I wish. That's if we get terminal cancer, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going out on a deathbed. So, that exists at a certain level, but it's so hard for us to do anything about it, right? Because we need our government to stand up. We need our politicians to stand up and for them to make changes in laws and fund law enforcement. So,
Man, it's been a blast.
Yeah, man.
This is a lot.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I want to try some of those psychedelics.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, let me know, man. I'll take you down.
Iboga?
They're going to see him
Iboga.
show up and be like, no, Sean, you can come. You got to stay back.
Yeah. The medicine's like, I'm going to go back and do IA again. Now that I've gotten better, I'm like, come on, let me back in. Come on, man.
Iboga sounds fascinating. So you literally could see your life.
Yeah,
it was so crazy.
18 hours, though, Sean. That's a lot of
it's different. It's like you go hard for 12, and then the sun comes up, then they put you in your room, so they isolate you for, like, you're not allowed to really talk to anybody. They pull your cell phone away, and you get this time to just lay in bed and think about, you have your first 18 is your first movie, so 0 to 18. You have your 18 to your current present is your second movie, and then you have the ability to write your third movie. And so you go through and you live through your life and you start analyzing all your mistakes, and it's a very honest and being true to yourself for it. So it does last, like, mine were 20 hours but by the 16th hour, I was just having, like, little shudders, but for, like, 8 to 10 hours, I couldn't walk. Like, it's like the Matrix is breaking. But the screen pops up, and, like, I had, like, a defrag moment where it was like I could just see myself in a bar environment drinking. I knew, like, if I, like, just different things throughout my life, it would show me. But I am still exploring. Like, I'm going to go do it again.
That's insane. So that means all our memories are stored somewhere, and you were able to reactivate it.
Dude, it was crazy. They had me, like, they walk you through a journey at one point. On the second time, your ceremony, they'll start guiding you. So they come over and they're like, no, go to your room or go to your house, and then go through the front door of your house. And you can see all this. And you're walking through and they're like, go up to your room. And they're like, do you see you? So then you talk to your inner child. You find it, and then you start digging up. It's insane.
Whoa.
Yeah, you start going through, and it's like, then they walk you through your organs.
It's got to be the most emotional experience ever.
Yeah. There was, like, I had, like, some deep stuff that I was like, did something happen? Like, what is during this period? Like, why did my blank in this area? And like, it's a very deep learning, right? But it's made me hands down a better person.
What country is this one in?
So this one you can go to Africa and do it. Like, eventually I will, but it's tough, like, getting Africa. But you can do it in Toronto. This guy Jason Munger, he does it with a guy named Michael out of Weedy Life, and they're in Mexico and Canada.
Wow.
And I got to go because of vetsolutions.org. Any special operation veteran, they paid for everything, man.
Wow.
Yeah, they basically were, I thought I was like, I paid for all my other trips, and they're like, hey, you want to go be a part of a study? I mean, covered everything.
Like hands down, it was the easiest situation. So they had, but it was for special operations. Or there's Heroic Hearts that does a lot of with regular Army and special operations. And so there's a lot of great veteran organizations out there, and they're not paying me. I'm throwing this out to these guys.
Did you come back and apologize to some people? Did you want to fuck some people up? Like, was it,
I'm like, yeah, because I mean, it does give you comments. Like, you know what? Fuck that person. Like, I don't need them in my life anyway. I was pretty cold at first. I was like, like I'm taking care of me.
Yeah, it's about me.
Yeah.
I remember now.
You forgive a lot, and you forgive yourself, right? You realize that, like, hey, you can do a better job at being a father. You can be a better person and work on this and just be honest with yourself. And I found journaling is key. Like going through, and I don't do it as often, but having that notepad. I study a lot of the Stoics and their philosophies that they had. So you tie all that together, and look, you do what you can, man. Like for the majority of us, especially where we come from, we just try to do more good than we do bad. Because none of us are perfect. Like no one's a saint here.
Yeah.
So,
Glenn, I've learned a lot, man. I can't wait to support your business and help veterans, save their lives.
For sure.
It's such an honor, man. Thank you so much for being out here. Like, you're doing God's work by spreading the word. So
absolutely.
Appreciate you for coming by, man.
Yeah. Man, thanks.
You got anything, Wayne?
No, thank you guys for watching. And where can they reach you at?
Glenn.Devitt on Instagram, and then foundationsentinel.org is my nonprofit, and alcoholarmor.com if they hate hangovers.
Love it.
So,
all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Peace.